Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video of Fox Flicks on Popcross Studios. Today, we're gonna watch them tone the Lilo and Stitch experiment. Oh my god, that did not turn out right at all. Let me try that again. Today, we're gonna watch them turn Lilo and Stitch experiments into SCP creations. Now, let's check it out and hope I don't glitch again like that.
For a good long while now, a subscriber who goes by CivilBeast16 has been suggesting that I take experiments from the Lilo and Stitch animated series and turn them into SCPs. And I have always loved this idea because I loved that animated series when I was a kid, and I think pairing it with SCPs is really fitting, but I was always kind of worried it was a little bit too niche. I knew I could make it something interesting for my core audience, but didn't know how many people outside of that would be interested in this. But thanks to the Popcross Studios Patreon now existing, my income is less directly tied to my videos doing well, so I don't really care if the algorithm thinks this is a good idea that it should push out to lots of other people, which is a very nice feeling, and now we can get into Stitch's cousins as SCPs. Let's do it! Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show.
Good evening, everyone. We will eventually be returning to my usual lecture circuit, discussing SCPs that fall into the subcategory of SCP-P, but for today I've been asked to pivot, as the O5 Council has just recently deemed it acceptable and necessary to declassify a set of hundreds of SCPs that were all created by one man, Dr. Jukiba. In the time when he worked for our foundation, Dr. Jukiba had been tasked with creating countermeasures for existing SCPs through genetic experimentation. Unfortunately, as is a high risk of working in this field, he went mad. The doctor came to determine that our world was doomed to be destroyed by SCPs eventually, no matter what we did, and decided to try and speed up this process to save us all the indecency of a gradual demise, as he so put it. He fled the Foundation with ample Foundation resources and began attempting to create his own world-ending SCPs, though, frankly, many of them seem able to do little more than just produce minor inconveniences. Anyhow, 11 years after his escape, Dr. Jukiba's new lab was found on the Hawaiian island of Kauai, after we received a tip-off from a local woman whose younger sister had unknowingly adopted one of Jukiba's experiments from a dog shelter. We now have many of his experiments in custody and will be covering details on some of them today. First off, we have item number SCP-J221. Object class, Euclid. Primary function, electrical power surge. Special containment procedures.
In a lighthouse now.
J221 is to be housed in a standard-sized cell with rubber-lined walls to prevent electricity from being conducted or seeping out. If personnel are required to enter, they must wear electricity-repellent attire from head to toe or ensure the entity is properly subdued first. Description: J221 is an amorphous creature made from living electricity. In its resting state, it somewhat resembles a yellow bipedal hound with antennae sprouting from its head and a short tail from its hind. While in movement, its form can vary dramatically in size and shape, both making its resting body shape seem to stretch, or fully transforming into an electrical state. The creature, when roaming freely, is able to leap in and out of electrical appliances and cause them to malfunction or even explode. It can also move at incredible speeds through telephone lines and other electrical wiring. Since transporting the creature into Foundation custody, we have found it to be very hostile towards our personnel. But we believe there is a way to remedy this. It seems many of Jukiba's experiments simply want something to do, to be active in some way. From interrogating Dr. Jukiba and looking through his notes and files, it seems J221 was being utilized as the primary source of power for Jukiba's lab, which was how he was able to stay off the grid and off Foundation radar for so many years. We are currently in the process of building a housing for the creature, through which it will be able to enact its primary function to serve a useful purpose, and power, at least in part, one of our many Foundation buildings. More information on this matter will be made available as research and trials are conducted.
Very well done, Professor. On to the next one, shall we?
Now, not all of Jukiba's experiments are within Foundation custody at this time. Some had escaped his lab long before we found the traitorous doctor, and others were taken by a bounty hunter working under the dollar of a notorious thorn in the side of our Foundation, the Chaos Insurgency.
Oh,
It seems a doctor from the CI was funding Jukiba's work briefly, but Jukiba simply took the man's money and fled once more to work without the prying eyes of a sponsor.
He does
The
that very
Chaos
much,
Insurgency
doesn't he,
then
Professor?
hired their own genetically enhanced hunter, codenamed Gantu, to retrieve the experiments. Gantu was unable to retrieve a large number of these experiments, and thankfully the ones he did acquire were generally not of the more world-threatening variety.
So it's a 625.
One still known to be in his possession
sandwich
at the
maker.
Chaos Insurgency is item number SCP-J617. Object class, presumed safe once captured. Primary function is unknown at this time. Special containment procedures. Once obtained, J617 is to be housed in a standard containment cell. Prior to personnel entering its containment, specimen must be doused with a sleeping powder. When
Makes
transferring
sense.
or experimenting on
look
this
at that
creature
tail.
outside its containment, a specialized sleeve must be locked over the end of its tail to prevent it from firing projectiles and harming property, equipment, or staff. Description:
You don't wanna
SCP-J617
piss
is
it
a
off.
3-foot-tall green scorpion-like creature, though it is 2 legs shy of what these arachnids commonly have. The means through which this creature was intended to destroy the world is unknown and somewhat unfathomable, frankly, but it does have the ability to create and fire condensed bolts of plasma from its tail that explode
Damn.
on impact with a surface, roughly with the
That's
same
that's
force as an
impressive,
M67 grenade. Though it
Kinda
is
blitzed
believed
out for a
the power
second.
of these shots can vary depending on the creature's time charging a blast. It is also capable of using its tail as a bludgeoning weapon, as its carapace is as sturdy and durable as topaz. Currently, without access to this
Makes
SCP,
sense.
it is unclear what purpose it could serve within our Foundation. Some have suggested that if the creature could be properly trained, as it seems many of Jukiba's experiments can be, it could be taken on field missions to be used as a weapon
could be a
against
pretty
other
good
dangerous
warrior.
SCPs. This theory, of course, can only be proven once the creature is within our custody. Units are currently dispatched and hunting down the location of the Chaos Insurgency housing for the few experiments they acquired, and once more, further information will be made available, pending Council approval, once discoveries have been made.
Very well, Professor. Oh, from an energy shooting scorpion, on to which one next?
Next, we have an experiment who's been transported to its own
lava.
specialized containment, along with one other experiment. Not specifically because of an elevated threat level, but because of the use we have found for them. Item number SCP-J502. Object class, safe. Primary function, lava spouting. Special containment procedures.
Very good for making
J502
islands.
is housed on a repurposed oil rig now owned by the SCP Foundation. The site is run by 7 SCP personnel and is also home to SCP-J501. Both experiments are permitted to wander the facility so long as they continue to work and live harmoniously with site staff. Personnel are
Okay.
encouraged to wear flame retardant attire when in close proximity to J502, but
Yeah, I
this
bet
is
that
left
guy
up
can
to
light
the
you up.
discretion of those on site.
Anybody
As an
got a
extra
light?
precaution,
Boom.
fire hydrants are to be made available every 10 meters on the rig. Description: J502 is a 5-foot-long orange crocodilian creature with 4 volcanic lava spouts, 3 on its back and 1 on the end of its tail. Its body is capable of producing massive quantities of lava, and it has proven able to use this as a weapon, but has not done so
Really
since being given a
remarkable.
consistent task by the Foundation. It is also an incredibly resilient creature, proven able to be buried under several tons of rock and debris and then digging its way out unharmed.
Yeah, I guess that would
According
make
to
sense
Dr.
when you're
Jukiba's notes,
living lava.
J502 and J501 were originally intended to be bitter rivals. J501 is a water-based entity that can absorb and expel massive quantities of water at pressures so fast it can slice through solid stone.
Damn.
Jukiba had intended to release
That's
both creatures
impressive.
onto an unsuspecting population and have them battle. Both creatures are near invincible, so the intent was that their battle would last long enough to cause complete destruction to their surroundings in this process.
Obviously.
Frankly, this still strikes me as a very inefficient way to bring about the end of the world, but I suppose I should not expect a great deal of sense from a self-proclaimed mad scientist.
I mean, yeah,
Anyhow,
the guy's a
this
genius,
intent
but
was
he's
clearly not met.
completely
With the two entities
insane.
in custody, we quickly found that they were drawn to one another and enjoyed the odd routine of J502 spouting masses of lava to then have J501 douse them in cold water to solidify them into stone. They have proven to be entertained by this task for hours on end, so we have taken advantage
Those
of this
simple
pairing.
Kratos.
The
I
purpose
love
of
it.
the oil rig on which they now reside is to give these creatures a place to continue this routine to slowly build an uncharted island. Once completed, the
Hey, I
intent
was
is
right.
to build a new foundation base on this island to house some of the more dangerous experiments that have proven unable to swim, making
So don't make it
escape
an
more
island,
difficult
Professor.
in the result
Incredible.
of a containment breach. Despite his betrayal of the Foundation, Dr. Jukiba has unintentionally provided us with some incredibly useful assets in both J502, J501, and other experiments he has created.
So from 502, which one are we going to next, Saw? Oh, whoop, hold on. We're back.
The final experiment we will discuss today is deceptively one of the most dangerous. If any personnel breathes a word of sympathizing for this creature, they are to be detained and given psychological rehabilitation, as they
Yeah,
may very likely
she
have
can
been
control your
brainwashed
mind.
by the entity. Item number SCP-J624. Object class, Keter. Primary
Oh,
function,
so it was Hull,
morality
Silence
conversion.
Maple, and then Stitch.
Special containment procedures. J624 is to be housed in a standard-sized, soundproofed cell. Microphones on cameras aimed into the cell are to be removed to ensure no sounds escape the containment. Anyone who must
you do
enter
not
containment
wanna hear
is
all-
required to wear noise-canceling headphones playing white
Not because
noise
it's
at
terrible, but
105
because it's just-
decibels. The entity is
So you
also
can control
required
your
to be
mind.
doused with a sleeping powder prior to entry. The creature is incapable of being fully put to sleep by this method, but it will at least weaken the creature enough to increase the likelihood of a safe exit for any who enter containment. Description: J624 was one of the final experiments made by Dr. Jukiba. It is a humanoid creature that stands at 4.5 feet tall and somewhat resembles a koala, a teddy bear, and a human female. The creature is fluffy from head to foot and has a set of prehensile antennae spouting from its head that have proven as strong as the creature's arms.
Really?
Its full strength
Huh.
and speed have not
Now
yet
that-
been
now
fully
that's
measured,
impressive stuff.
but the creature is incredibly agile and at least able to lift a small car with little effort. It also has retractable claws
Why does
and
he have a knife?
diamond-hard teeth with which it has torn
Professor,
through
why
solid
does he have a
steel
knife?
and bitten off a D-class personnel member's
Never
arm
mind.
in a single bite. The entity also has intelligence beyond that of an average human, and has proven capable of very convincing deception. Unfortunately, all of these abilities are distantly secondary to the creature's most dangerous power. The creature can sing a siren-like song that contains within its words and notes a neuro-linguistic behavioral modification trigger. Hearing this song, even only partially, will convert the morals of any who hear it, almost exclusively towards ill intent.
It literally does a complete
J624 has
flip.
also proven able to alter the song slightly to elicit specific reactions, such as a desire to help the creature or even a desire to take one's own life. According to Jukiba's notes, he did build a failsafe into this creature's ability. The effects of the siren song can be reversed by the creature simply singing the same song backwards to anyone previously affected,
And
but
that
we have
will
failed
revert
at
them
every
to
turn
normal.
to convince the entity to do this to heal those already affected. Our final note of intrigue actually takes us to a possible positive of this experiment. Because its song is specifically made to alter the morals of those affected, our scientists wondered what would happen if an incredibly immoral person was made to hear the song.
It would
To
tone them
test
good.
this, as many D-class personnel are, a subject was taken off of death row and brought into Foundation custody. This prisoner was a notorious serial killer, with a
Oof.
list of crimes grim
Damn,
enough
man.
to make even a Samsara agent's stomach churn. He was placed
Oh,
in
okay, now
containment
that
with
sounds a bit
J624, and when he heard the song, this subject actually began to cry. While no audio could be pulled from inside, lip reading suggests that the D-Class was expressing remorse for his past actions. Unfortunately, we were unable to interview the affected, as J624 was clearly displeased with this result of its song and tore the man to shreds. But this result has led us to determine that more such trials may prove very fruitful in rehabilitating dangerous criminals. For today, that is all the information we shall cover. Requests may be left below as always. Good night, and thank you everyone.
Very well, so, looks like I can move back up. And I'm back. Perfect.
Civil Beast 16, thank you very much for this suggestion, because I really love doing this.
Oh,
and
yeah,
course,
props
thank
to
you
the guy.
People who support the Popcraft Studios Patreon now, which makes the more niche episodes a little bit more viable. And if anyone wants the inks from this episode to color themselves, or versions of the high-resolution art, along with tons of other high-resolution art from this channel, and all of the ink bundles I've ever put out, you can check out Popcraft Studios Patreon. And if you're new to the channel and you want more SCP stuff like this, I'd recommend checking out my Pokemon as SCPs series. I'll link the compilation of the first 6 episodes in the cards. And besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is another quote from Ed Milet, who said that self-confidence comes from making promises to yourself and then keeping them. If you want to build up confidence, just start making a bunch of small promises to yourself and then doing those things, like getting up 15 minutes earlier for a week straight. Even if it's just a bunch of little things, once you do a bunch of little things, your confidence will slowly build up and up and up until you find yourself keeping promises to yourself to do big things. I hope that's inspiring to someone out there. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday, which is the community redraw. See you there. Goodbye.
A community redraw. Alright then. Well, folks, that's going to be where we end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link in the description, and I'll see you folks next time when we flick on. Peace out.